Hi, and welcome to Penn Central 99's channel. I'm Terry, and this is the River Mountain Model Railroad. Hi, and welcome to the workbench. If you're like me, the more and more we learn about the hobby, the more and more supplies we accumulate. Lately, I've been accumulating these 17mm bottles that are used for holding weathering supplies. As you can see, this one is from Vallejo. These are actually empty medicine bottles that I got from the veterinary clinic because our dog needed some medicine. And I plan on buying some ammo by MIG weathering supplies here in the near future, so I'm going to need some storage space for it. Now, I've seen some videos on YouTube where people have taken some cardboard boxes, cut them into strips and hot glued them together for trays for a storage system, which is fine. I just thought that there's got to be something that might be a little less time consuming than cutting cardboard into strips and gluing it together. So basically what I did is I'm going to use this piece of foam board here, and this is 2-inch thick foam board, and I'm going to use this for a tray for storing my 17mm bottles. Basically, the plan is to drill holes into that 2-inch foam. Now, as you can see here, a 17mm bottle is about 1 inch in diameter, and they fit pretty snugly inside of those holes. Because what I've done is I'm using a 1-inch Forstner bit to drill those holes. But what I wasn't sure of was the distance that I needed between the holes for some stability. You can see in the back here, these are 1/4 inch spacing. This is no spacing, and this is 1/8 inch spacing. I like the 1/8 inch spacing because it gives a little bit of stability in between the racks there and doesn't fall apart. Because you can see here what I did is I drilled 4 holes 2 by 2 with 0 spacing to see what it would do. And actually I don't like the instability of this, especially since we're going to be moving this tray around. We're going to be pulling bottles in and out of it, and I really didn't like that. So even though you're saving space, you're losing stability, and I think some sort of stability is important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the 1/8 inch spacing in between the holes for all these bottles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this scrap piece of foam that I have in the garage. This is 24 inches by 12 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into a 12 inch by 12 inch or 1 foot by 1 foot square and go from there. For those of you that are wondering why I didn't measure from the corner or the edge, you can see that this edge and this corner is pretty beat up. So I wanted a square surface to work with, so that's why I did not measure from this edge. Like I say, this is scrap anyway, so cutting the middle out of the ends doesn't matter to me. I'm going to make all my measurements and draw my lines before I start drilling holes, because I think it's going to be quicker if I just have the pre-designated marks for the Forstner belt to drill into. But just so you know, for a 12 inch by 12 inch piece of foam board, I can get 10 by 10 holes. That's going to give me 100 holes in that board to store those 17mm bottles. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center point here and work out, because 10 bottles with 1/8 inch spacing in between, I need an overall 11 3/8 inches. So let's go ahead and start measuring this. Okay, so basically what I did here is I drew lines across and up and down and diagonally. Okay, the lines that go across and up and down are 1 inch square with the 1/8 inch spacing in between. And the reason I drew diagonal lines on the squares is because that's going to be my center point for me to drill my hole. Now it's just a matter of drilling 100 holes. As you can see here, I get everything set up. The hoses for the shop vac, I'm going to turn that on so I can vacuum up the foam as I'm drilling through it, so it's going to be a little bit noisy. I'm not going to show you all 100 holes. I'll probably show you the first couple and the last couple and just give you an idea of what it's going to look like. Well, that's pretty much it. 10 by 10 or 100 holes altogether. Is it perfect? No. Was it less time consuming than a cardboard box? I'm not exactly sure, but it turned out. So at least I have a tray now that I can put my 17mm bottles in for storage. Nice and neat, compact. The only problem is now I got to fill this thing up. So off to the internet I go, and I'll be doing some shopping. Well, that pretty much does it for this edition. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. And as always, thanks for watching.